Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year again. We are going to be predicting the NFL playoffs, and this year has been absolutely crazy. Who would have thought that Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings would have finished 14-3 and would have played the Lions for the number one seed? Anyway, let's jump straight into our first matchup. The Texans taking on the Chargers. And this is probably the second hardest game of the week for me to predict, mostly because Houston has home field advantage, which is going to probably come up pretty clutch in these playoffs. However, C.J. Stroud has taken a step back in his second season. He has not played that great, and there is a team that brought in a new head coach. Justin Herbert is playing great, and so I think the Chargers go on the road to Houston and beat the Houston Texans in round one, which would leave us with Ravens, Steelers, and the second matchup. And this one is actually the easiest game for me to predict this week. And I don't think it's any question. I believe that this game is not even going to be close. I think Baltimore is far, far better than Pittsburgh at this moment. Pittsburgh has just completely fallen off a cliff, and I think Derrick Henry will probably have over 100 rushing yards, probably a rushing touchdown, maybe even multiple, and Lamar Jackson will go crazy like he did during the regular season. Bills-Broncos, this is probably the second easiest game for me to predict. I'm sorry, Broncos fans, but I'm expecting this game to be a blowout. The Broncos can hang in there, but I just think the Bills are a far better team, and I'm just mad at the Broncos because I really wanted to see Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, but now we get to see Bo Nix versus Josh Allen. So I'm just mad at the Broncos that I didn't get to see a shootout between Burrow and Allen, but you know what? It is what it is. Congratulations, Broncos, for finally making the playoffs, and you're going to get bounced in the first round, and it's probably going to be ugly. Next up, we've got Rams taking on the Vikings, and if you're a Vikings fan, this is probably the one matchup you did not want because your 3 losses in the regular season, 2 of them came to the Lions. That third loss was to the Rams. I don't know that the Vikings will be able to stop this Rams offense. This is the one game that I really don't know that the Vikings can win, and it's in LA, which is a pretty big advantage for the Rams. However, I'm going to give the Vikings the benefit of the doubt, and I am going to give them the win. However, it will not shock me if the Rams come out victorious in this game. I just don't think the Vikings are going to have what it takes to beat this Rams team. But I am going to be taking the Vikings after that 14-3 season because I just can't see them going out in the wild card after winning 14 games, but don't be surprised if it happens. Next up is going to be Buccaneers and Commanders, and I think even though the Bucs are the 3 seed and have the home field advantage, I still think the Commanders are favored in this game, and I am going to pick the Commanders over the Bucs. I think talent-wise, I think the Bucs are probably better, but I think Jaden Daniels is playing so well. I think he just carries them past the Bucs. But I wouldn't be surprised if I would not be surprised if the Bucs win. And then that leaves our last matchup, the 2-seeded Eagles taking on the 7th-seeded Packers. And if you watched my predictions before, you would know that I am a Packers fan. And this hurts because Hurts is about to tear us up, and we are probably going to get first rounded, and it is so unfortunate. Now, I said the Cowboys were going to beat us last year, and then we ended up beating the Cowboys. So I am praying that is another case, that the Packers can upset the Eagles in Philadelphia, but it's going to be very tough, and I just can't see it happening, which is going to be unfortunate. However, the next matchup in the divisional round, Ravens-Bills, is going to be absolutely crazy if this happens. I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, you have the top two MVP candidates right now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Both of them deserve it. I don't know who it's going to go to. It's probably leaning towards Josh Allen, but I would not be surprised if Lamar gets it. They are both playing at such a high level right now. I honestly have no idea who to pick here. So I'm going to pick the team that almost made it last year, but their one weakness was that they didn't run the ball in the AFC Championship, and they fixed that by getting Derrick Henry. So the Ravens are finally going to run the ball, and they're going to beat the Bills in Buffalo. And it's probably going to be like a 28-24 type of game. It might even end with a Justin Tucker field goal, which Justin Tucker has completely fallen off this season, but I guess we don't know. And then this would set up a divisional matchup between the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to win. They dominated the Chargers all year. I think they'll just move on. The Chiefs are 5-1 in their division because they lost to the Broncos, but technically they're undefeated in the division because their backups played the Broncos starters, so I don't really count that game. But either way, they're definitely better than the Chargers, in my opinion. And it's in Arrowhead, which is just a terrible place to play, especially in the postseason. And it's postseason Mahomes. I wrote him off last year. I will not write him off again. They are going to make the AFC Championship game. And Commanders-Lions is up next, and this is a pretty easy one. The Lions should easily be able to take care of the Commanders here. The Lions, I just think, are just far beyond a lot of these teams in the NFC, and I think that they'll prove it. And this game is probably going to be – it's probably not going to be close. It's probably going to be like 34 to like 17, something in that range. Maybe even 40, I don't know. But the Lions are just far better. And then Vikings-Eagles, I'm just going to give it to the home team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles are a more complete team. And Sam Darnold's showing against the Lions in the final week has me nervous going into the playoffs. So I think if they do get past the Rams, they're most likely going to have to face the Eagles, and that's just not going to go well for them. Saquon Barkley, over 2,000 yards. I understand why they didn't let him go for the record. I think they should have let him go for the record. That's just my opinion. Just like the Bucs got Mike Evans, tied Jerry Rice's receiving yards record, but that's just my opinion. Now, moving on to the AFC, we've got Ravens, Chiefs, and this one is hard to predict. I think that I am going to move the Ravens onto the AFC Championship. I think they're going to get revenge from opening day. The season kicked off with the Chiefs beating the Ravens, and I think the AFC will end with the Ravens beating the Chiefs. Lamar and Derrick Henry will go to their first Super Bowl. And then Eagles and Lions. This is so difficult to predict. However, there is one team that wants this and needs this more than anyone in the playoffs right now, and that is the Detroit Lions. And I think that they will beat the Eagles and make their first ever Super Bowl. I believe it's their first ever Super Bowl. So that will be amazing for Lions fans. And then it would be a great Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens taking on the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. And ladies and gentlemen, my 2025, or I guess 2024 to 2025 Super Bowl winner is the Detroit Lions. Crown them right now. The Detroit Lions are going to win this year's Super Bowl. That's all I've got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button. And if you want to, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free. I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out, everybody.